An old closed copper mine in Canada is reinterpreted. The new ore body is larger, cheaper to mine, and ready to produce in half the time of most new resources this size. The mine was operated by Newmont Mining and later by Esso. A tunnel was driven under mountain ranges to reach the deep, glacier-covered ore body. Both ore and waste were crushed and hauled by train through the tunnel to the milling site, 18 kilometers away. Over 16 years, they mined over 15 million metric tons of ore, producing 400 million pounds of copper, 4 million ounces of silver, and some gold. The mine was decommissioned in 1984 when copper prices turned during a commodity down cycle. With the upturn in copper prices, explorers turned fresh eyes toward this deposit. Decades have passed. The receding glacier and ice fields give easier access and a revelation. We're looking at one of the world's major Beshi-type massive sulfide deposits. These deposits are meters thick and can extend for kilometers. The world's largest is Windy Craggy, just north of here. Clues from airborne surveys indicate the deposit is much larger than the historical resource. This magnetic map reflects iron content. These electromagnetic spots target long stretches of sulfides, where copper, silver, and gold reside. Where do you think the deposit places now? Based on this modern data, land holdings were expanded by 6 times. Drilling in the south confirms predictions. Here, the ore is a similar thickness and higher grade than the old mine. Four kilometers to the north, an outcrop confirms the extended strike length. Now the potential for copper spans this 4-kilometer stretch of ore body, far beyond the limits of the original mine. The reduced weight of the glacier allows access from the original mine workings. 20 years ago, they couldn't do this. To prevent flooding, the roof rock would have been so thick that insufficient ore would be left to mine out. Along with the new interpretation come new methods of processing. Tests show the high iron content allows magnetic separation for the first stage of extracting the copper, silver, and gold. This cuts down waste rock dilution compared to the earlier method of hauling all the rock out. The tunnel is in great shape. Here, a continuous conveyor or slurry system can give much higher output than the old haul train could. The increased capacity allows drawing rock from multiple work areas at the same time. This allows the operation to scale up to the targeted production of 9,000 tons per day. The biggest hurdle in getting to market is the cost of transport. Here, the investment has already been made. This haul road is worth over $100 million in today's dollars. It probably couldn't even be built today. The BC and Alaska governments maintain this road for mining transport and tourism. $1 million was just spent for upgrades. The road slopes downward 40 kilometers to a deep water port. The slope of the road reduces fuel costs. The downward slope is equally good for transporting the ore in a slurry pipe, with no fuel costs at all. The site is in northern BC, but it's not as remote as it seems once you see the Portland Canal. It hosts the most northerly ice-free port in North America, the closest port in Canada to Asia. Stewart Bulk Terminals have specialized equipment for shipping concentrated ore. This is a port hungry for new business with lots of capacity. The nearby town of Stewart is an historical mining center. Since the turn of this century, it's been dormant, awaiting a new mine to revitalize its economy. As you've probably guessed, this is the Grand Duke Mine, with the longest tunnel ever drilled one way. It's now owned by Bell Resources. The president of Bell Resources is Glenn Zinn. As a senior executive at Hecla, Glenn was president of the Grand Duke after it was decommissioned. He kept the claims open by doing exploration work. The results of this work opened his eyes to a new vision of the deposit. Then it was a matter of waiting till commodity prices made investors receptive. The decommissioned mine sold cheap in 2004, and the reborn Grand Duke project became Bell's most developed asset. Drilling is still needed to expand the size of the known ore body even further in 3 directions, and to define resources and reserves. Here in BC, you can see the return of a pro-development climate. Here at the Grand Duke, you can see a dramatic contrast with other discoveries. Shorter development time, reduced capital expenses, all without relying on today's copper prices, because Bell's projections are conservative. Market valuation of an asset increases significantly at the pre-feasibility stage. This will be Bell's next milestone at Grand Duke. Bell's Grand Duke project, a reinterpreted deposit. The chance to reach production cheaper and quicker than usual. And a company that looks beyond the tunnel.